Hi everyone, good morning. I'm Tamara Sachs and I welcome you to join our live broadcast on scarred eyebrows. For those of you who didn't see the before picture, you can look on my page and we will also shortly have it on the comments below. Because this procedure is already going to take us quite some time, I had to mark the model before and her before, so she's now nice and ready, but I'll just say a couple of things before I start the procedure. So first of all, the reason I chose today's topic is because students ask me all the time about scars. Scars are very difficult. If you're new to the permanent makeup world, I don't suggest starting with the scar tissue. Okay, it's very rough to work with. If you work too superficial, pigment won't be deposited to the scar. If you work too deep, what will happen, the color that you put, whatever color you use, whatever brand, will look bluish, grayish kind of, because of the depth. So it's really tricky how to work. And in an occasion like this, where I'm working on an eyebrow area at the same time as scar, I have to readjust the depth I'm working in each section. So for example, if normally when I do hair strokes technique, I use 0.5 millimeter depth, whereas here I will take my needle to 0.7 so I can kind of play and be more superficial in the areas I don't want to be too deep, the healthy tissue. And then on the scar part, where I want to go deeper, I will have the ability, instead of readjusting my needle the whole time. That of course also means that my needle is going to be a little bit more flexible because it's more outside of the cartridge. So that's one thing to note of today's procedure. Number two, you will see that the model today, Fitzpatrick 3, okay, so she has pretty pale skin. However, her eyebrows are pretty dark, so they're on the dark brown area, but still I want to use cool so going back, 0.17, that's the needle I'm going to use. It's the thinnest in the market of permanent makeup. I really like it because it can make thin strokes really nice and crisp. But at the same time, if you're not experienced with doing hair strokes with machine, using a thin needle will just cause you to repeat the same stroke over and over again, and then what will happen, you're going to get really thick stroke, and then there is no point really to work with that kind of needle. So if you're new in permanent makeup hair stroke machine, I think you're better off with a little bit thicker depth, like 0.35, 0.40, something like that. If you're already a professional, you know how to work with hair strokes, then 0.17 is really amazing choice. Another important thing to note is that I'm going to do a scar eyebrow. Therefore, microblading is not appropriate method to work with. You cannot microblade a scar. So if I would want it, I could have combined techniques where in the areas that don't contain the scar, I could work with microblading. But in this case, I just thought the best thing I could do is just work with the needle. And that way I don't need to switch around too many things and go all over. But still with the 0.17, you will see I can use it in different ways to achieve kind of different effects. But microblading, you cannot do over scar. That's definite. So no point to go with microblading over scars. So can we ready to start? So here is my needle. I'm just going to open that up. I'm going to put it in my machine. Now, for those of you who don't know how to distinguish 0.5 millimeter depth or 0.7. The way I normally like to explain is that you want to bring the needle to the first point where it's still inside the cartridge, okay? So you cannot see the needle outside at all. But if you turn it a little bit, it will. From this point, every turn you're going to do gives you about 0.1 millimeter depth. So if I want 0.7, I'm going to do 7 rounds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, and that's about the height of the needle you want to get. And as I explained before, the reason I want to do 0.7 is because I have scar tissue, which means that in the scar tissue area I would need to work a little bit deeper than the healthy tissue area, and so I want to be able to do both without the need to kind of readjust my needle all the time. So we have that set. Now I'm going to prepare my pigment. I'm going to start with the New York. So it's kind of a medium cool brown, which is perfect for this case. You don't need a lot of pigment when you work with machine. Now I'm going to put this down. I'm going to change my gloves. Sorry about that, the internet keeps on coming down. It's the Murphy law whenever we do shooting of videos. So I'm going to show you, I just changed my gloves, and I'm going to show you a cool way on how to remove the numbing cream without affecting the markings. Okay, so I already marked, you can see this is the healthy tissue eyebrow. On the second one you will see the scar. I'm taking a spatula and I'm just going to wipe the numbing cream toward the tail very gently, and using a dry cotton pad I'm just going to wipe it like that. Can give it another little round, and as you can see it kind of left me with my markings, so I won't have trouble to work on that. So I have New York NPM pigment in my cup. I have 0.17 needle, and I'm ready to start working. So you want to give the skin a really good stretch, okay? And the key thing is to work around the area of marking so you don't lose that. So now I work very shallow because in this eye I don't have any scar. You can work in this direction or in the other direction. And as you can see, I work pretty slow because I want to make sure I deposit enough pigment into the area. And you want to give it a good stretch. And as you can see, I don't wipe anything yet. I will only do that when I come back to the second round. If you guys have questions while I'm working, feel free to write them. Phil will read them up to me.
Okay, we have a hi from Iran.
Hi back.
Says, how are you?
I'm great, thank you.
We have a hello from Sabine.
Nice, hi.
We have Valerie's asking, when are you in Calgary?
Calgary will be coming in 2018, around May time. So it's not too cold for me.
So Valerie, Calgary, later next year. Hi to Matilda. Hi to Hila.
Hello everyone, welcome.
Hi to Maria. Hi to Barbie. Irina, hello from Vancouver.
Hello Vancouver.
We have Shira, she says, amazing.
Thank you very much. Wait until you see the scar. Eyebrow.
Shira said, mine came out perfect.
That's nice.
If you have any questions, post them in the comments. We'll read them out. Tomorrow we'll answer them.
Now I always like, if you can zoom in this area, I always like to imitate as much as I can my client's natural growth. So if you can see in this area, she has it upward coming, and from here they start a downturn. So I'm just going to imitate the same strokes that she naturally has, the same directions. If you don't follow the client's direction of hair, it's just going to look very, very funny afterwards. So it's always better if the client has hair to just follow that. Okay. And I have here the open skin numbing. I'm going to apply just on top of everything I just did without taking off anything. Now I'm going to work on the second eyebrow. So again, for those of you who missed how to take off the numbing cream without affecting your design, I take a spatula and slightly slide it toward the tail. You can even do it for the second time if you really want. And you can notice that her scar starts from here, outside the eyebrow, and goes all the way into the eyebrow. So this side is going to be more tricky to work on. But that's what we're here for. So I'm just going to repeat the same things I did on the first eyebrow. I'm going to go on the edges of my design just to make sure that I have it marked. Now here I have the scar, and here in the scar I need to do a little bit back and forth kind of movement to get the pigment in. Sometimes in scars there is no sensation at all for the client. Sometimes it's really sensitive area. This scar is about 30 years old at least. It's a childhood scar, been there forever, and has affected her entire appearance of eyebrows because kind of making this eyebrow lack a lot of hair. I'm going to give it a good stretch, and I'm going to do a little bit back and forth movements to get the color in when I'm working on the scar. And I'm a little bit deeper than I would on the healthy tissue. You also have to bear in mind that the depth depends a lot on the client's age. The older the skin gets, our epidermis layer is kind of thinning out. So there's no need to work very deep because you get really fast to the dermis layer.
Hi to Nisren, hi to Maria.
Hi everyone, we're so sorry. We keep on getting disconnected. Unfortunately, we cannot do a lot about it. Just be patient.
Andre Dos Santos says hello.
Hello, Andre. Looking forward to seeing you in April in Brazil. So I had someone, I don't know if he's with us or not, who asked me if it's a hair transplant scar. So what I told him, a scar is a scar regardless of where you're going to do it. So the same rules apply. So just like I'm doing hair strokes on her scar to imitate the rest of the eyebrow, if I would have a hair transplant client with a hair transplant scar on the back, I would either do dots to kind of make it look like hair follicles, or I would make like lines just like I'm doing now on the eyebrow, just so it's covered and you don't really see the scar anymore. That's the point of it.
We have a hello from Maria from Spain.
Hello, Maria.
We have people from all around the world. Canada, America, the UK.
Welcome everyone. I'm just like I explained before, I'm not cleaning anything on my first round. I'm just going to apply the open skin numbing on top of it. And now I'm going to go back to my first eyebrow. And this time I'm going to wipe it off.
We have Lena. She says amazing.
Thank you very much.
And again, Kika again says hello from Spain. Thank you very much.
Oh, nice. We have a lot of Spanish with us today. Welcome all. Viva España. So now I'm just going to repeat what I did so you can see some of the strokes really took well. If you can maybe zoom in. Like the first one, pretty noticeable. The rest on the first one, on the first pass, are normally kind of a little bit too light. So I'm just going to repeat them over again, but this time you can maybe see better because I'm without marking. I'm working pretty slow, so I deposit enough pigment in. As you can see, I'm not a big fan of back and forth kind of movements, except for the scar area, because I just feel it thickens the hair strokes a lot. Let's see. As you know, the eyebrows sit on a system of the sinuses, so it's very common to sneeze.
Bless you.
I normally like to numb 1 hour before when I can, because I feel it makes a lot of difference. Here we didn't have enough time, unfortunately. You can start seeing the hair strokes building up. You have to really maintain a steady hand and patience in this procedure. And I'm really trying to imitate the client's natural eyebrows, so it all will balance in together nicely. As you can see, I don't like to work too tidy because then it looks fake. And you really have to stretch well, so you hold the skin nice and tight.
Helen says, Helen Van says hello from California.
Hello, Helen. Welcome. Now, time is also the key for this procedure. I believe that if you work too much over the skin, even if you're numbing it while you're working it, then the skin becomes really tired. So I normally try to aim to 45 minutes or an hour tops. Another important thing to note is that sometimes it takes time for the pigment to show. So only when you'll come back to the eyebrow after you numbed it with the open skin numbing, only then you will see the color better. So don't overwork on a hair stroke each pass. That's why I try to do it once and then I come back.
Okay.
Hello? Are we back?
Yeah.
So what I was saying is that, as you can see, I'm working back and forth from one side to another. And the reason is, I think our hand has memory. And so if I'm going to work this way, I'm going to remember and imitate better, replicate better one side to another than if I complete one side and only then start doing the other side. So as you can see, the scar really took the strokes well, which is what scars do. If you do it correctly, then just the way you see it now, that's how it's going to heal. There won't be a lot of migration in the scar tissue. So that's the benefit. The disadvantage is that you really have to be careful when you're working in the scar so that you do it very nice and soft. And I'm going to repeat my lines.
say to Rochelle, to Nilsi, and to Nyama, who just joined us.
Welcome. So this is the tricky side, this is the scar. And in the scar, because she doesn't have any hairs at all, you want to make it a little bit more dense, so people won't notice it's a scar. If you're doing alopecia, you will also notice that the tissue is a little bit different feeling than healthy skin. You want to have a steady hand.
What's the recovery time, the recovery period for a treatment like this?
So normally 7 days to 10 days, and that's about the time it will take for the scabs to fall off. Again, the benefit of scar tissue is that kind of what you see now is about what you'll see at the end. It won't change much, not like the rest of the skin.
And is there any aftercare that she should be doing after the treatment in this period?
So I'm a great believer in dry healing, that's how we call it, which means I'm going to put at the end of the procedure an aftercare cream, and the only reason I'm doing that is just to protect the skin from her to, once she walks out, and kind of not getting contaminated. But other than that, I don't want her to put anything at home. I normally also like that they don't shower, as long they don't wash the area we work at for as long as they can, if they can do it like for 3, 4 days, 5 days, that's great. And then that's it. Our body has what it needs, and I feel that dry healing gets much nicer results than putting Befantol or MD ointment, or all those who are really, really oily and kind of smudge our lines. So now back to this side again, and I'm just going to continue working. And like I said before, I'm just following her natural hair pattern.
Hello to Rolando,
Hello.
who just joined us. Hello, Rolando.
You can see this side, the natural growth is on the upper part of it down. I'm just imitating that. Now when you're choosing a color for hair strokes, make sure that you don't choose too light color, because then it will be really difficult for you to see the hair strokes you're doing. So this side is almost finished. I'll probably do another round once I'm numbing her again, just to wrap it up. But that's pretty much, she wants it very natural. She doesn't want it too noticeable.
Joanna says, muy lindo trabajo, in my very poor Spanish. I think.
Muy lindo trabajo. Muchas gracias. Okay, so now we're coming back to our challenged eyebrow. Now, her main concern was the eyebrow with the scar, but still, I had to work on both of them, so this one won't become very noticeable. So whenever you have procedure that requires just one side, let's say, or whatever troubles your client is one side, you still have to work on both sides to make them even out. Now she's a smoker, so that probably explains to you why her blood is a little bit thinner. That's another reason why you want to use an open skin numbing cream. It contains epinephrine, and that will shrink the blood vessels, in which will stop the bleeding, in which will stop washing off your pigment and causing less pigment to come in. This stage, I'm going to numb her other side, and I'm going to absorb from different angles the eyebrows and see what I still think is required. So I really like the color. I think it's a perfect fit to what she has, which is why I didn't bother to use my other color. So the main thing I think that's left is just a little bit here on the area between where her hair is and her scar, so they kind of a little bit work better. And also what I will suggest to her to do afterwards is to start brushing her hairs upperwise, so it's kind of covering a little bit the area that doesn't have any hair. So I'm just going to give the skin one more minute to absorb the open skin numbing. This side, I don't think I will add a little bit here to the tail. You see in the empty areas I left. It's always good to kind of play with the hairs a little bit to see where you still need to work. And in the front, she has a lot of hair here, so I will just leave it at that. So last round.
Pollyanna just joined us. Honey, also. Honey Yosef.
Welcome, welcome. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. I'm doing now the last round on each eyebrow. Like I said in the beginning, I don't like to overwork the skin too much. So this will be my final round. How long has it been, Phil?
I don't know. It's been about 45 minutes.
Yeah. That's about how much I work on an eyebrow on average. So I finished this side, but there's one more here. But still I'm going to put the open skin numbing because, like I said before, she's a smoker, so her blood is pretty thin, and I just want to make sure it stops from washing out my pigment. And also it calms the skin down. Looks better on the photos, the after photos. And now I'm going to finish the other eyebrow. I'm just going to work more on the connected area between where the scar tissue is and the hairs. And what I'm going to do when I finish the eyebrow, she doesn't like her scar, the one that's outside of the eyebrow. So you guys are going to also take benefit of seeing what scar camouflage means. So if you stay tuned, that's going to be next. Now, not always you have the same conditions in both eyes, like in this example. So if I do want the final one to look the same, it means that on the eyebrow she has more natural hairs. I don't need to work as much, which is what I did. And here, where she has the scar, I need to invest a little bit more strokes. So it looks really, really cool. And again, I'm going to stand up and take a look. also put numbing on the second eyebrow, although I feel like I've finished, but still I'm going to do that to close the skin nicely and everything. And I'm going to ask her to sit up so I can look at her in front of me. That's nice. Slowly, slowly. Okay. You want to see? At this point, I'm going to show it to her. You like it?
Mm-hmm.
It's always the different to see yourself. Okay. So now I'm going to do change my gloves and everything, and I'm going to do the scar camouflage. Maybe you can show in the meantime the eyebrows for more close-up. Okay. Okay, you can lay back down.
So explain what you're going to do now.
Okay. Let me show you in a second. So over here is where her scar really starts. Can you see? Okay, which is outside of the eyebrow area. And since I won't be doing the eyebrow area in this zone, we decided that the best strategy will be to do a scar camouflage. Scar camouflage means I'm going to do skin colors, okay, with my needle, and I'm just going to fill the scar to give it an optimal illusion that it's not there, just because what distinguishes the scar is also the different color from the healthy skin. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put sodium chloride in a cup, and that's to clean my needle. So I'm just going to clean up my needle. So I'm dipping it in the water, sterilized water, until it's all clean from the previous pigment. You can also exchange needle if you want, up to you. Now here's the tricky thing. since she is Fitzpatrick 3, skin color for her means I need to mix natural pink, olive green, which is what I need to put so the natural pink will look very orangey afterwards, after heal, and white just because I need to brighten everything up. So here's my mix. Olive green, drop. So I put a drop of olive green, okay? A little bit of natural pink, because that's her real tone, and white to brighten everything, so it's not too dark. So it's about 1 drop olive green, 3 drops natural pink, 3 drops of white, and I'm mixing it all together. And you can also put it next to her skin and kind of play with it to see if it got you to the right tone. Okay, when it's applied on top of the skin, of course, it will look a little bit darker than when I'll apply it inside the skin. So, with my 0.17 needle, I'm going to dip it in my new color. Again, it's a scar, so you need to work deeper. And it's fast, because I just want to deposit a lot of coloring. So it's fast, long strokes, fast, long strokes. In the beginning, it will just look like a very traumatized skin, but after healed, it will look really, really nice. I will upload the pictures in a week. Fast, and I'm only working where the scar is. Make sure you work deep enough.
It's the same aftercare on the scar as it is on the eyebrows.
The exact same thing. The only thing I said, scar, there is no much migration. If you've done it correctly, then it's just going to stay the way it is. And when you're doing scars, obviously you're a little bit deeper, therefore you will see a little bit more blood. It's normal. And in her case, I see even more because she smokes.
So what you're saying is smoking is bad?
Just bad for permanent makeup, that's for sure. Okay, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to take Q-tip and I'm just going to clean up the scar. And I'm going to clean up the eyebrows as well. And I'm going to take a Q-tip and dip it in my camouflage colors, and I'm going to apply a little bit on top of the scar I just did. First of all, so it looks better now that she goes home, and second, to let some more pigment absorb in now that I'm not traumatizing the skin.
And how would she wash this off? Just with water, or it's supposed to stay dry for
So
as
now
long as
she's
possible?
just leaving it dry as long as possible. if she's going to, she contented and she's going to wash just to make sure the area is dry. Now the pigment that I'm putting on top is just giving me a window of opportunity of about 15 minutes to get absorbed. After that, it doesn't matter if she takes it off, it won't make any difference because the skin closed up. So
there's 15 minutes now for this this pigment to be absorbed into the scar tissue.
Yes, there's always a window of about 10 to 15 minutes after the skin was open for pigment or anything you put on top of it to get absorbed.
And we'll show next week, we'll post the before and after pictures so you can see the process.
So now I'm just going to apply the Aftercare cream. Just a thin layer, and like I said, the main purpose is just to seal the skin up. So now she's going to walk outside, it won't get contaminated. Any questions?
Any questions? We don't have any questions. Just a lot of likes.
Nice. I hope you enjoy the...
Mayan, you just joined. I'm sorry you've missed it. Anna as well.
Well, they can always look at it afterwards.
It will be posted on Facebook, so you can watch back this video. And stay tuned, we'll be doing more Facebook Live demonstrations over the next couple of weeks.
As for classes, my next classes are going to be in Hong Kong. After that, I'm going to have a class in South Yorkshire. December, January, San Francisco, February, Florida, and Ireland. In March, I'm going to do San Francisco again, and Portugal. In April, Brazil. So I'm looking forward to seeing you.
In Canada in May, right?
Yes. That's it, a thin layer, and like I said, dry healing. Less is more in this case. The skin can really take a good care of itself. Maybe you want to show just one more time.
Okay.
Thank you all, and looking forward to seeing you on my next live broadcast on scalp micropigmentation.